What is up, assholes? Welcome back to the Call to Action podcast, where we have Call to the Fan Leagues. I'm going to keep things very quick this week, so you guys can stick around for the important announcement at the end of the video. MTFO, we have a representative from there this week talking about World War Geek coming up, and we actually had two very important matches for that this week: a qualifier to get into it, as well as a playoff between two of the big loud people, Jimmy and Alex. As well as in multiplex, the Warzone singles tournament has gotten underway. I played, yikes! But let's ignore from my failures to know animated mice. But let's talk to a representative from multiplex, or not multiplex. What? I need to slow down. Representative from MTFO to talk World War Geek. Someone who's, you could say, is the brainchild behind the whole phenomenon, Mr. Corey Morisette.
Hey, Adelaide.
Hi. Yeah, and as I said beforehand, we talked about this, and World War Geek is maybe the biggest event MTFO has ever had. So I wanted to have you on and sort of discuss the happenings, the how doings, the how you doings. You know, like just tell the wonderful people, what is World War Geek?
Well, World War Geek is our free-for-all style event that's going to crown our very first Geektacular champion. The first season of Geek, it was going to be a double elimination tournament. With the amount of competitors we have, it's well over 40 at this point. Would have taken a very long time. So when I took the job in January, that was the first thing I pitched to the group was, let's just do a free-for-all, as many competitors as we can fit into a day, and determine our champion that way. And from then it kind of snowballed. And we certainly couldn't have done it without you, my friend Adelaide, for agreeing to drop out of World War Geek. Actually, you had a spot in there, but you said, you know what, I'll sit this one out and I'll help write it. And then within 48 hours, you had the whole thing written.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Am I going to throw myself into something where I am 99% chance not going to win the title? Or do I give pain to everybody as much as possible?
And I've seen the doc. There is some definite pain in that document that I can't wait for the competitors to come across. But it's going to be a massive event. Like you said, it's the biggest we've ever put on. We had the Funtacular. That was just 3 videos, 2-3 matches per video. This is going to be one massive shoot day of, 4 or 5 hours, cut into probably 3 videos again, as we have, 12, 24, 36 competitors. The announcerships, figuring that out with yourself again, graciously agreeing to volunteer to take the first 2 shifts with our Schmodown celebrity guests, and Elk handling 2 as well. This is really a colossal endeavor, and I'm so glad that we're almost to the day, because it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun, and we're going to finally crown our MTFO Geek Champion.
Yeah, and just flashing back a bit briefly, you mentioned Payne, which great to focus on, but I also want to talk about Mr. Ryan Payne, because I did mention there were a lot of important matches that came up in the past week. And we had, a very eventful week in the, I guess, like you say, the mini free-for-all qualifier for this. And yes. I think Ryan's someone who I think is very interesting to focus on. And of course, Ryan can't be mentioned without talking about the Elk, where he made a bet back in, let's say, April, because what is time right now, where he went to Mark Kameyer and said, "I'm going to challenge you to a match, and whoever loses is out of World War Geek." And Ryan lost. And then cut to a few days ago, and Ryan Bibiani, the mini free-for-all, and he's now in World War Geek again.
No, you're absolutely right. When I pitched that stipulation of that match to both Ryan and Mark Kameyer, they both said, you know what, I'm okay with that, because I'm confident in myself that no matter where I place in the qualifier, I can win my way to the end. And Ryan held true to his word, drew number 1 in the qualifier, had to beat 10 other competitors to make it to World War Geek, but he was able to pull it off. Ryan was on a little bit of a losing streak heading into that qualifier, and he seems to have turned things around now. So he's all of a sudden a dangerous competitor in World War Geek.
I mean, you could say dangerous competitor in general. The man was Darth Maul. I don't trust that man with my children at any point right now. And then you had Jimmy versus Alex, which Alex he was very close to tying the points record in that match. And what was it? He got number 35, I believe, in that match. Like that's yes. He's in a very dangerous position, and I feel like this has been a very eventful week building up to World War Geek.
It really has. It couldn't have worked out any better. It really was a lot of fun, with the qualifier being as good as it was. We had a little bit of everything in the qualifier. We had a table clear. We had a guy going from number one all the way to the end. We had interesting characters like Amaru and Ryan and that kind of thing that made it fun.
Amaru, a potential favorite to win it, came in last and then lost to Ryan in sudden death.
On a sudden death Pirates question, yeah. So
Pirates.
That match had a little bit of everything. And for us, it was just a great way to kind of kick the tires and make sure we were ready to put on an event that was 3 times that size coming up this Sunday. Then you get to the Jimmy and Alex match, and that was just a stipulation I threw out just to try and make it interesting for the last match in the World War Geek. What do you say? The loser gets the low number, winner gets the high number. So when we spun the wheel, turns out high number was 35, low number was 6. Like, it couldn't have worked out any better than that. So now poor Jimmy's got to fight his way up from number 6. And Alex is sitting pretty at 35. And after his performance, like you said, 23 points, 1 off from the single match point record. He's a dangerous, dangerous competitor.
Yeah, it'd be great if someone got 1 in 35 rather than 6 in 35. But you can't do everything. Not everything you work out.
Yeah.
I will say though, something that's been very fun in the past couple months. You know what? Let's save that for the end, because I've tested this stock with a few people like a half a dozen times. And again, the people who are not in World War Geek, everyone who I've tested it on is like, holy shit, you're evil. And they're not wrong. And one of these people who I tested the doc on is Mr. Brandon Hanna, who you guys are familiar from the Schmodown. And I'm not just saying that to brag. Corey has given me the good grace to announce I'll be on the desk with him in World War Geek. So all of you wonderful people who have nerves, you're welcome.
No, you're absolutely right. We're actually going to have 4 live Schmodown personalities as announcers. Brandon Hanna will be on the desk with you. There'll also be another personality at the beginning of the match with yourself, and then 2 more Schmodown celebrities near the end of the match calling with Elk. We also were lucky enough to get some pre-records from some Schmodown personalities, including one absolute legend. I'll announce one of those names here tonight. I let Adelaide do the one for Brandon Hanna. One of the pre-recorded celebrities that we recorded asking questions for World War Geek is none other than Emma Fife. So we're very lucky to spend a day with Emma. She recorded a bunch of questions for us. We have 2 other celebrities from the Schmodown that'll also be asking Jeopardy-style pre-recorded questions. But out of the 7 Schmodown announcers, we're happy here to announce Brandon Hanna and Emma Fife confirmed for World War Geek.
I didn't even think of it as Jeopardy-style, but you're right. Yeah, it's like is it double Jeopardy?
A video daily double, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what it is, yeah. I don't know. It's just a lot trying to balance 4 competitors or 4 guests, and then the bevy people who are providing the special questions. Like, how did you organize that?
Very difficultly. It's going to be interesting on the day how this is all going to come together. But we got all of our pre-records done. They're already uploaded to StreamYard. We've got the announcers, their schedules, so everybody knows roughly what time they're going to be coming in. And on Saturday, I'll be able to let the competitors know with their number roughly what time to be ready. David Garcia and Jeff Saunders from the MTFO are going to help out kind of behind the scenes, emailing the link to the competitors when it's about their time to come in. So we'll have 4 on screen with 2 announcers. That's 6. The other announcer and myself backstage for 8. And then the next 2 competitors will fill out the backstage to be 10. So that's kind of how we're organizing things, and it worked really slick for the qualifiers. So I'm sure things are going to go wrong because they always do at an event this big, and especially we're live to tape, but I don't want to say live, but I've been producing live television in my career for 20 years. So this kind of thing doesn't faze me. I'm just ready to have a heck of a good time on Sunday.
Yeah. And that's not the important announcement, everyone. You can stick around even longer for that, and that's right, I am torturing you, but also giving you a lot of special content. Speaking of special content, there's a little bit more we want to throw on the table. I actually don't know how I'm going to do this. Probably should have cleared this with you beforehand. But again, with the good grace of Corey Morisette, lovely viewers out there, we're going to reveal a number. And not just one number, but 2 numbers. And I mean, you take the wheel on this because I genuinely don't know how to make this work.
Well, you were nice enough to invite me on your show, Adelaide, and I can't come on your show and not bring you a gift of some sort. So yes, we're going to reveal 2 numbers for top contenders here tonight. for World War Geek. One of them, a member of your faction, Fetus Cult. So maybe let's do that one first. Now, I was stuck at work all day. I didn't have time to do up a fancy animation or anything, but we're going to announce the number for Caleb Boatman here tonight. Adelaide, if you had to maybe guess, where do you think Caleb's going to end up in World War Geek?
Well, knowing that we have the lovely graces of being 1 and 4 so far, I'm going to guess 2.
Well, you're not far off. Caleb Boatman is going to be entering at number 8. So Fetus Cult is in a little bit of a hole to start off with. Announced numbers so far, you got Cameron Holtzman at 1. Albert Rudarm is coming in at 4. And Caleb Boatman now at 8.
What I'm hearing is that Cameron Holtzman is the best player, Albert is the 4th best player, and Boatman is the 8th best player.
Well, and maybe they will. Maybe they are. We don't know.
Or better yet, I think Nico has a better solution for everything.
Yeah, little known fact, 1 and 4 Elk Social Security number. Yeah.
Just 3. He's that old. He just only has 3 numbers.
Yeah, he's that old.
Yeah. And because we have a second one.
We do have a second one. This is one
that's surprise.
Yeah, I wanted to announce this one especially because this is my pick for a dark horse. I know when we did the Live Geek Center, we all kind of threw out names who could win this thing. We took a lot of grief because we didn't mention Thomas Scully, and that's because everyone assumes Thomas Scully is going to win. So that's why nobody really brought it up. These are kind of the dark horse candidates who can knock off Thomas Scully. Nick Carley's name was brought up. Joe Farrelly, Mark Meyer was brought up. You got a couple of members in Fetus Cult that we don't know where they're coming in yet. Maybe they're going to be there at the end. But the name we're going to announce here tonight is one of Jay Burns. And Jay's an interesting competitor. His last match was a total annihilation of his opponent, and it bumped him all the way up from dead last in the rankings to 23. And actually 23 is exactly where he's coming in at World War Geek, number 23. So a very good number for the arsonist, Jay Burns.
That's funny. I mean, this has my theory like holding true. Again, I have my 1, 4, and 8 best players in the whole division, and Jay is 23. At 23, you're just reaffirming my correct beliefs in the dominance I have over the Geek division as a manager.
So Colton Roberts is number 36 then in the Geek division since he's entering at 36?
Yes.
Okay.
but I mean, again, when you have my entire faction who are I'll save the heel promos for when I go heel again because I changed the life for a reason. But actually, so I wanna push this on a bit so I can keep everyone in anticipation for the end. You mentioned Geek Center, and I realized like since I last had MTFO on, I don't think we talked about this as much. It wasn't like as established of a show. Like telling people what Geek Center is. I think it's almost like the SEN to the Schmodown, where you're covering a lot of the content from MTFO on its own separate show.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We kind of took what Christian said about making the Schmodown more sports-based this season with stats and everything, and we kind of applied that to the Geek division because I'm a big sports guy. So Geek Center is our Sports Center version where we're going to talk about stats, we're going to talk about matchups, we're going to review matchups. We have competitors on every week talking about what's coming up. If we're forwarding a feud or anything like that. I know Fetus Cult was actually introduced on Geek Center, and then we had the big reply from the then League of Shadows. So fun stuff like that. And once World War Geek is done, as you well know, Adelaide, we've been working on the matchups coming up after in June, July, and August. I've got pretty much 3 months full of matches. And so now that everybody's played, we're going to have more tails of the tape. We have more stats. We're now keeping track of average points per match, that kind of thing. So it's the Geek recap show of the MTFO. And my understanding is whenever we get a new singles commissioner, they may be doing something like that for the singles division as well.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next Geek and More Contenders match between Thomas Scully and Hillbilly Scribbs. A true title-worthy match. And I thought for one thing behind the scenes, it was that I just wanted like connections to like, I don't know.
Hey, 3-0 versus 0-3. It's the perfect Rocky Balboa story, right?
It just balances out.
Yeah.
So I feel like I should just ask Scribbs at this point for like, he's a hillbilly. Does he have like a farm? Like what animals does he have? Does he grow any food?
We know. Hopefully, Hillbilly comes back. He hasn't been around for a while. Like we've seen this El Scriblo fellow, and Jeff Saunders has been helping out behind the scenes, but we haven't actually seen Hillbilly in quite some time. So hopefully, he comes back soon.
Well, actually, fun fact, I found him yesterday or today. Actually, he was over at Multiplex playing in a singles match where he loves Planet of the Apes, which maybe he has apes on his farm place dungeon thing. I don't know, but he would seem to be a big fan of that.
That's a great category actually to pick, but it's a lot of movies. Like that's 9 movies you got to know pretty intimately, and a lot of early 70s, late 60s movies in there too. So if you're an expert at that category, that's a great one to pick.
Yeah, and I'm realizing we talked very fast, and we sort of got through this episode very quickly.
Yeah, okay. I understand you got some news, so
I do. I'm gonna keep people waiting. I would say, like, is there anything else you would like? Anything you want to talk about MTFO in the coming future? Because I know that again, Geek Division is reaching like a big climax right now, but there's still a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. We actually got a big announcement for Geek that's going to be happening as part of World War Geek, so you want to stay tuned for that. We're going to keep the momentum of World War Geek going past the event. So big announcement happening there, and we have the new Anytime Anywhere title that's going to be decided for the first time. Actually, taping tomorrow. As we talk here tonight, Adelaide. So got a bunch of people in line to vie for that belt. I tested that match format. It's a heck of a lot of fun. So we're going to have Anytime, Anywhere titles just kind of popping up all over the place, either as part of Geek Center, during a match, before a match, after a match, right in the middle of a match. We don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we got that new title and that new division popping up. And like I said, big announcement coming at World War Geek. So stay tuned to the end of that match because we'll make it then.
I guess you could say it's not anytime. It is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Saturday.
It was a great way to get people who didn't make it into World War Geek involved. So all those people are the first batch that get to vie for the Anytime Anywhere title. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
And not to mention, and I know again this was mentioned in the Discord, so I can say it. A few singles matches are also being held in the backlog currently. So, and even while that division's like somewhat on hold, while the rest of those other matches that we taped come out, it's still something for like the newcomers. Like, I'm gonna plug him because I'm a big fan of the man. Anthony Tisdale is someone who I've been looking forward to getting involved in the MTFO, and he just came in. And it's like, it's hard to get a match right now because of everything that's going on. It's nice to have that capacity or that avenue for someone like him to walk in and get a match while everything else is just sort of, hectic.
Exactly. Yeah, and singles is one division that's going to explode after World War Geek. I know I'm taking that pretty much entire next week off to try and recover. That edit is going to be a pretty big edit. So I'm going to edit all the way up to May 30th. We're going to drop the thing, and then I'm taking a week off. So we're not going to tape anything until the beginning of June. So that's when I think you're going to see singles and Star Wars again ramping up as well. We have to make some decisions in the Star Wars division. The title is vacated. So I know they taped the match last night. I'm not sure how that went, but Star Wars is another division that's going to ramp up here very, very quickly.
I didn't know that. Surprises every day. Jesus. I would have loved this to go longer, but I guess what you get with one guest. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, just that we're all really excited for World War Geek. I'm very thankful, Adelaide, first for your help in World War Geek, and second for inviting me on here tonight, just so we could talk about it. Let a few more cats out of the bag. There's a lot more coming. Like I said, we announced 2 names for announcers. There's 5 more that we haven't told you that are going to be part of the big event that's going to drop on May 30th. And we've only announced about half the numbers. So, there's still some big names out there we don't know, like David Garcia, like Thomas Scully, a lot of rookies, even guys like Antonio Chavez or David Lees. There's still a lot of big names out there. Caleb Coho, we don't know where he's coming in.
Nick Tuhig, don't know where he's going.
Nick Tuhig, that's a great one. I've actually got him booked for like the first match after World War Geek, so I want to get him into a match as soon as humanly possible.
That man deserves a 2-0 and then a 3-0 and then, et cetera, et cetera. I do want to say, just like, for anyone who wants to be insulted by Brandon Hanna live, keep an eye out for Sunday. We're going to tape World War Geek and show up on time. Be ready. Yeah. Please don't be Andrew Ryan scream drunk for your one round you can play. And if you have any questions, there's always the MTFO Discord. And speaking of the Discord, you guys can join that Tush Down Patreon at $2, where you get access to it and you get to compete and lose to my faction. But you know what? You still get to have a good time.
Absolutely.
And Corey, where can people find you on social media?
On social media, I am a part of the Feeding the Monster podcast family now. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at CD Morisette.
All right. Corey, thank you so much for being on. And this is where I make my special announcement. I do want to thank Corey a lot for being on, and I told him what this is going to be beforehand. So thank you for just taking the risk on me, I guess is the word to say it. The important announcement, everyone, and this is hard to say because after today, I am leaving Call to Action. It's been a very intense and passionate past year and a half for me since starting the channel in December of 2018, like 2017, whatever it was. And it's my time to go. I have, frankly, I have not felt welcome in the team in months. It's just been like an onslaught of just bullying and unfairness, and I have never felt happy. At least not in not in a while. And if you guys want to know more, I'm always open to talk about it with, and I'm going to be very honest. But yeah, today I am done with C2A. I'll be continuing this channel or this show on my own channel, and I really hope that I can have more upward momentum and I can still get the passionate fans like you guys, or however you're watching this behind it. But yeah, I'm done, and I really hope that you guys can stick with me through whatever the rest of my career looks like. And please follow me on Twitter. And that's not me plugging, it's just I don't know how else to get in contact with you, because that is the future for me. Is if you guys want to hear anything about me or about my shows, about anything I'm working on, you can find me there. And I really hope to see you in my future, because I love doing this. And it means a lot to me if you guys can stick around and watch what I have to do. Thank you for everything you've offered, and goodbye.